Hello, it looks like I'm live, and welcome back to another video. This is going to be a little bit different, but I got thrown in jail over the weekend, and I'm just checking my audio here real quick. It looks like I'm live. It looks like it's working. So anyway, I was on Twitter, aka X, on Saturday, and I watched there was a Trump rally where he went back to the site of the assassination attempt back in July, and Elon Musk was there speaking, and there's I'm trying to figure out there's something on here about X sharing x.com to stream. Oh, okay, yeah, I've got that set up to share. So anyway, what happened was Elon Musk had actually put out on Twitter or X that he was going to be speaking at the Trump rally. I'd seen that on several sources, but anyway, so he promoted it on X, and it was streamed on X, and then he shared his clips of his speech on X. And I think he's amazing. I think the things he's done with Tesla, although I'm not really an electric car guy yet, I think it's very interesting. And then of course his SpaceX work is incredible. I think what he as a private company has done, as a private entrepreneur and a privately run enterprise has done. I mean, right now they're up rescuing the NASA astronauts who are stuck on the International Space Station. So that's just incredible. And it just speaks to where our country and our government's inability to do a job, and where it can be done so much better in the private sector most times, most scenarios. There's a few exceptions to that, but so anyway, long story short, he made some comments that violated Twitter's rules in his speech. A short while after that, I just happened to be scrolling through Twitter. I was actually sitting exactly right here, had my phone. I was just kind of scrolling through, and I saw an account that I think I follow. It's called Defiant Elves, and they just post random stuff. And anyway, they had a video about what would you do in this situation, and it showed, I'll show you the video right now. It showed a guy, let's see if we can go like this. Yeah, so it showed a guy walking up to a car. A lady's in the car on her phone, and she's talking to the police, and make sure my phone is on mute. It was not. And so anyway, this guy walks up, basically some kind of road rage incident. Turns out this happened in Brazil several years ago. The guy walks up to her car, shoots right into her windshield, shoots out her tire, and then before he walks away, he shoots into her engine. So if this was disturbing to you, well, almost 4.5 million people have watched this video on X, and that's okay. But my commenting on the video is a violation of their rules. And you'll find that what I said in terms of Twitter's rules is kind of similar to what Elon said during his remarks at the Trump rally. Let me just see if I can play this. I don't know if the audio will come through the computer or just off my microphone, but let's just see if it picks up. The audio is really not important to it.
No. Aí ele tá mandando baixar o vídeo. Ele tá aqui na minha janela. Tá bom. Ele vai dar um tiro no pneu. Ele deu um tiro no pneu, 2 tiros. E no vidro. 3. Ai, meu Deus. Tá bom.
So this video and videos similar to it are all over YouTube, X, Twitter, Facebook, all these things. There's literally a genre of videos of off-duty Brazil police officers shooting and killing criminals in the act. And in this situation, that was not an off-duty police officer. This guy was arrested and charged with attempted murder. So the Defiant L here, let's go back to that. You don't have to look at me. Let's see, Defiant L's. says, what would you do in this situation? Well, let me see if I can share with you my reply. I just have to figure out how I share that. Let's see. There's, let's see. Oh, we're on, let's see. Okay. I just stopped that. So the screen sharing on my, let's see, on my thing here, this is the part it gets a little complicated, but I think I can share screen. Let's see, window. Yeah, here we go. That one, share. Okay, so you should see that now. Do you see it? Yeah, looks like that's showing up. So this is what I said. Shoot first. If I couldn't do that, I'd run his ass over just for walking up like that. Okay, so that's what I said. And then the we'll stop that for a minute. We'll go back to my other item here that I got. So there we go. Okay, so now do you see that? This is okay. So yeah, so what the response I got was from Twitter or X. Says, we temporarily limited some of your account features. I appealed it. They denied the appeal. I appealed it again. They never responded. But in my appeal, I quoted my state law, which is similar to most state laws for self-defense. Most states have pretty similar laws. There's little nuances. Major famous case in Florida happened with Stand Your Ground. You know, we're not in that really. This guy walked right up to the woman's car, and I mean, she really couldn't, without running him over, she couldn't really leave. So it wasn't really a matter of her standing her ground. But so anyway, they say violating our rules against violent speech. You may not share abusive content, harass someone, or encourage other people to do so. Bear in mind, this is a guy being charged with attempted murder in Brazil several years ago. I don't know the outcome of that case, but anyway. So violating our rules against violent speech. And you may not share abusive content, harass someone, or encourage other people to do so. And this is where we'll get into what Elon Musk said about Joe Biden and about standing right next to his friend Donald Trump, who seemed to be laughing and so on, about what happened to Trump. So let's see if I can get off of that screen. So okay, it looks like I'm back on full screen. So there's two issues here. There's all the other comments on Defiant L. Let me see if I can go back to Defiant L, and we'll just read some of the comments here. So share screen and Defiant L. What would you do in this situation? Okay, share that. Okay, so I should be sharing that now. Oops. Right. Yeah, okay, so we got that back up. Okay, so what did Defiant L say? Or all the other commenters. So, oh, by the way, Defiant L reposted this video from another source called Post Forbidden Videos. Post Forbidden Videos has, as of right now, 2.6 million views on this, and Defiant L has 1.6 million. So that's 4.2 million views since October 5th on the Defiant L part. So here's just a few of the ones that come up. He fired, well, first of all, is this a violation of Twitter's rules, showing a guy walk up to some innocent lady who's on the phone with the police, scared for her life, and firing shots right into her windshield, tire, and engine block? I mean, seems pretty violent to me. He fired at you, run his ass over with the vehicle in self-defense. Defend yourself, that's what you do. Somebody just shot at you, FFS, for fuck's sake, is what that stands for. FYI, this happened in Brazil last June. The people in the car were on the phone with police while it happened. The man was charged with attempted murder. This person says, get a new windshield, and they put a whole bunch of center body mass shots and one in the forehead. Put dots on there. So, fill them full of holes and then get yourself a new windshield. That's okay. Let's just say he wouldn't be walking back to his car. As soon as the pistol came up low ready stance, I would have smushed him into the guardrail and did a little burnout for good measure. So that's not even just self-defense at that point. That's just if you smushed him into the guardrail in self-defense, doing a burnout for good measure is just maybe not self-defense. Now here's the one. Two little boys about 3 years old driving over each other in their toy Jeep. One literally drives right over this kid's head. It would not have ended well. Yeah. He would have been a speed bump real quick. I'm amazed the guy in the red would risk his life over a traffic incident. They only learn when they face repercussions. Shoot him first. Don't approach my car with your hands behind your back. That's pretty much what I said. Certainly you don't stay there as someone approaches your car with hand behind his back. The only correct answer is to stop the threat. Absolutely justified when he's brandished the weapon. For you to do whatever is necessary. Absolutely inexcusable at this moment. He walked away. Approaching with hands behind back. Pistol is already set. As soon as he points, he gets guardrailed, shot, and I sell his wife off at the next truck stop to pay for the damages. So apparently, not just self-defense, but a little extra plus human trafficking that's okay with Twitter and X. Yeah, that's not a violation of their rules. But saying I'd run his ass over is apparently for me, it's a problem. The other people that said they'd run his ass over, that was okay. Return fire, center of mass, misspelled. Roadkill without hesitation. Showing these type of videos to get a valid response of what should have happened would probably get my account locked. Yeah. Why am I sitting there while he approaches with his hand behind his back? It's a fair question. As soon as the firearm is visible, it's clear threat. My vehicle becomes a defense mechanism, or my pistol does, depending on which is more expedient at neutralizing the threat. It brings up an interesting point, because a long time ago, a friend of mine was a deputy sheriff, and he introduced me to a sergeant, kind of like a legendary guy in his department, and they put a gun sight on the front hood, like in place of the hood ornament on this sergeant's patrol vehicle, because he had used his patrol car so many times as a weapon to stop a threat. And sometimes that's the way it is. And in another kind of a law enforcement scenario, I lived in a neighborhood that was on a private road, and I had a neighbor who was a retired police chief, and we had a problem with undesirables coming into the neighborhood and kind of causing trouble sometimes on the weekends or nights. And I lived near the kind of more the entrance to the neighborhood, and anyway, so I usually was the first person to see it, and I was a little more alert maybe than some of my older neighbors. But one of my neighbors, who was a retired police chief, he and his wife came by one day, and they said, hey, if you ever see anything going on, it's middle of the night, middle of the day, I don't care, you can call and wake me up. You just call me, and I'll come over and I'll confront the people, and I'll call the police, and they'll respond faster if I call them or whatever. So I said, okay, yeah, sure. And then the wife goes, he'll run him over with the car. He won't even think twice about it. And and she wasn't saying it to be funny. It came across kind of funny to me, but she was dead serious. She was like, he'll run their asses over with his truck. And so anyway, that's this comment basically says that, hey, your vehicle can be a self-defense mechanism in certain cases if you're in that situation. Anyway, it goes on and on. I wait for him to turn around and empty the whole clip into him. No, it's not a clip, it's a magazine. As soon as I saw him walking toward me with his hand behind his back, I'd shake hands with Mr. Glock. As I saw him walking up with his arms behind his back, I'd be reaching in my glove box to grab my gun. Officer, I feared for my life. That's all you have to say. A car is a powerful weapon, just saying. Smiley face. He'd have a one-way ticket to visit his ancestors. He becomes part of the rail. A lot of people have offered to put him into the guardrail. Seeing him approaching with his hand behind his back, I would have hit reverse. Yeah. Okay, that retreat. As an LTC, not sure what that means, but I think it's a concealed pistol permit license, something. License to carry holder in the great state of Texas. He would be taking the room temperature challenge 17 plus 1 in the chamber reasons. Today, told any passengers to cover their ears and shot right through the windshield. Thoughtful to ask the passengers to cover the ears. They should driven away while he was walking towards their car. That would probably be the best first choice if you could. So anyway, it just goes on and on. He wouldn't have made it 10 feet from his car holding a firearm coming towards me. Not a chance. Someone walks up to you hiding a hand behind their back, you get the hell out of Dodge. Yeah, it's probably... We don't know what the whole situation was. We don't know if her car was, disabled because of something else he had done previous to the video. She may not have had that option. He wouldn't be walking away. There are reasons. Anyway, it just goes on and on. There are hundreds of comments on here that are basically the same as or very similar. There's a pair of shoes sticking out of the asphalt. Basically, the same thing as what I said, or much more graphic and much more violent. What I did is I basically described my state's self-defense law, and so I pulled that up, and if I can pull it up on here. So I Googled Washington State, which is where I live, self-defense laws. So you have lawyers and all kinds of people on here. Is this the Bing version? I got the Bing version. Well, I pulled it up on Google as well, which gives you the new AI synopsis. But the actual law is right here. The defending against violent crime. Oh, this is reimbursement. Shoot, let's see, is this use of force on children? Come on now. Let's see, where's the actual let's see. Is this the actual by a peace officer? These are all the police ones. I think, gosh dang it, I thought I had it ready to go. Anyway, it's homicide by other person when justifiable. And homicide is also justifiable when committed either in the lawful defense of the slayer or his or her husband, wife, parent, child, brother, sister, or any other person in his or her presence or company, when there is reasonable ground to apprehend a design or the part of the person slain to commit a felony or to do some great personal injury to the slayer or to any such person, and there is an imminent danger of such design being accomplished, or in the actual resistance of an attempt to commit a felony upon the slayer in his or her presence or upon dwelling or other place of abode in which he or she is. So that original thing that I was on here, the Bing search, darn it. The defenses when it's peace officer. Here's the basic synopsis is Washington State self-defense laws allows a person to lawfully use force to defend themselves or others and their property. Use reasonable force when being attacked or having a reasonable belief of imminent danger. Not be required to retreat, stand your ground state. not use more force than necessary given situation. And bear in mind, Washington State is a pretty damn blue state. They've got all kinds of bans in place right now that are recent to assault weapon ban, and I think a magazine that holds more than 10 rounds and stuff like that. But ghost guns, out of state guns, all kinds of stuff. But bottom line is, the law is actually pretty liberal in terms, pretty liberal really, in terms of protecting the citizen who's defending themselves against a violent attack, which is what this whole scenario is. And I don't know where the little I was going to use a term, but I don't know where the little moderators on Twitter/X are located, if they're even in the United States or if they would even understand. But my comment was obviously picked up on the AI, and it's or some I forget what the other term for that is, but some kind of a automated system that flagged my comment immediately. I pretty much hit send, and I got a thing flashed up on my screen saying that we've temporarily locked your account or something, and you can either delete the post or you can appeal it. I don't know what the punishment would be if I just deleted it, but I opted to appeal. And let's see, how do I stop sharing that? But I adopted to appeal, and the result was I got a 7-day sentence in Twitter gulag jail, which has not really been all that bad. I've been allowed to work here in the kitchen, and that's been kind of fun. And then they let me work in the laundry too. So it's been I've learned some new trades, and I've had some time to just reflect and read. I can't comment on Twitter anymore, but I can read and just sort of reflect on my sins and my crimes, and so there's that. It's not the worst thing that's ever happened. But let's just for a moment here, let's just take a look at what Elon Musk had to say on Saturday, just an hour or so maybe before I got thrown in jail. So Elon Musk is obviously the majority owner of Twitter, and the chairman or chief executive of the X. And so he's going to be treated differently. He's probably got a anti-violation block on his account or something, so he can't be flagged. But on Saturday at the Trump rally, he got up, standing right next to Donald Trump, and let's see if this is, yeah. So we'll share this. I don't know if the video or the audio will come through on this, but he almost immediately he made fun of Joe Biden's disability and his inability to walk up the stairs of Air Force One. And then he also glorified violence against Donald Trump by, talking about him with the blood coming down his face and getting up and fist pumping and saying, "Fight, fight, fight." So, that did happen, but he was kind of laughing about it while he was talking about it, right next to the victim, who, we don't know how Donald Trump feels about his assassination attempt, the first one. He came out at the Republican National Convention and said, "I'm going to tell this story for the first and last time, and I don't want to never talk about it again." So, no doubt he's got some PTSD or some trauma from. I mean, who wouldn't? I don't have a good item here. If you take a pencil or a stick or something and you put it through your top of your ear and you go just a tiny bit this way, it's going through the back of your head. If you put it a tiny bit this way, it's going through the front of your head. those are not survivable rifle shots. So just to be able to be shot through that little window of very narrow shot that happened, it was just incredible. But here's what Elon said, and this is okay on Twitter. This is not a violation of Twitter's rules.
How they behave under fire. And we had one president who couldn't climb a flight of stairs, and another who was fist pumping after getting shot. Fight, fight, fight. Blood coming down the face. Now, America.
So I don't know if that's glorifying violence or whatever the various, let's see, what did they say about that? There was a term they had for, I think, this thing here. Violating our rules against violent speech. You may not share abusive content, harass someone, or encourage other people to do so. I think glorifying violence, laughing about blood coming down your face as somebody just got shot and you're standing next to him, and I agree with I agree with what he was saying, but it seems in the other original thing they sent to me, it seemed like it was a violation of their rules. When I try, even just trying to find out what their rules are is difficult. But they, you may not share abusive content, harass someone. Well, I don't is talking about looking into somebody's character for their inability to walk up the stairs of Air Force One. It's kind of harassing an old guy who's, now the other argument is, should that guy be the president of the United States? Is he capable? Is he up to the job based on his outwardly physical issues that we're seeing that are playing out? That's an argument to have, but standing up and making fun of it, contrasting that versus a guy that just got shot with blood running down his face, seems like it's both a little bit maybe in violation of their policy, but okay. And then another one, let's see, just to I could go in depth here, just in terms of my 7 days in let me get back to this here. 7 days in Twitter jail. So here was an incident that occurred in my state, Washington, where I quoted tried to show you the law. And Jason Rantz is a radio talk show host and very active Twitterer, very active on X. He posted a video. I was in Seattle about a week ago, and first of all, I drove by Nordstrom's, and I thought, wow, there's a Nordstrom's I used to go to when I was a kid. I haven't been there for a long time. I get to my hotel a few blocks away, and there's the top story on the local Seattle news is a shooting in the parking lot of Nordstrom's, at the one I just drove by. And then, which is, pretty sad. It's a pretty sad state of affairs. And then at the same time, just a few miles from where I was sitting, handyman had been stabbed to death. There's a handyman and a military vet. Let's see, I have that up on screen. So he was stabbed to death. And not only that, the next morning, 27 hours after his arrest, he was released on $50,000 bail. Keshawn Jimerson or something was 19 years old, was arrested in the stabbing death of a handyman and military vet in Renton, Washington, home of the 737 and the 707 and the 727 and the 757 and all derivatives. And the B-29s were also built there, B-17s. So anyway, so this guy was arrested the day before, 19-year-old, arrested the day before for stabbing, and it was just stabbing the handyman and military vet to death. And the next day, the judge let him out. So he didn't even spend, well, he spent one night in jail, I guess. And that's pretty violent. Basically what happened was these guys, I don't know, they were just out talking. I don't know. They say there was some disagreement, but it doesn't seem like the handyman did, engaged in any type of violence. And anyway, Jason Rantz, by the way, posted this video, which I just accidentally showed here. Didn't intend to, but posted this video of this innocent guy being savagely attacked from behind. It looked like he was beaten and then stabbed. And, that's okay. It's news. And I think it is okay. I think it is okay to show it and to talk about it. There's, I could go through the comments on there, but, there's some pretty, graphic, perhaps racist comments throughout the comments on that story based on the race of the suspect and the race of the victim. So we can stop sharing that anyway. So I just wanted to comment on it. It's just seems, first of all, I tend to think I know the difference between right and wrong, and I stand by my comment. I don't think my comment was really out of line with one. All the other comments were equal to or worse than what I said, and some of them were very, very graphic, and they went beyond self-defense. Like, I'm gonna, do a little extra just for good measure, take his wife and sell her at the next truck stop or something, whatever it was. So, I didn't go that far. I just simply said, what would you do in this situation if a guy walks up and starts shooting into your windshield, your tire, and your engine of your car while you're stuck on the side of the road and on the phone to the police? And I said, shoot first. If I couldn't do that, I'd run his ass over just for walking up like that, because he walked up with his hand behind his back. And when I first saw the scenario, I thought, man, this guy's walking up with his hand behind his back like that. So, what do you do? And my first thought was, well, he's implying a threat, and I don't know what the setup, we don't know what the setup or what happened before that. So all I know is, what would you do in this situation? Well, if it was me and I hadn't done anything, I'm just driving down the road, and I've certainly had people go all road rage and crazy on me. Just driving down the road, the speed limit in the right lane of a highway, and just not bothering anybody, and just have somebody who's having a bad day come up on you. Well, so if and I've had a situation like that where I've taken an exit just to, I feel like this person's following me, so I take an exit and they take the exit, and then now what? And so it didn't turn into anything. Actually, one guy did get arrested. I called the state patrol. They told me to pull into a parking lot, and there was a trooper there in about 2 seconds, and this guy tried to run me off the road. He pulled up alongside of me, and I was just driving down the highway in the right lane, just, driving the speed limit. And I was in a commercial truck for my business, and, I couldn't go super fast in a vehicle like that. I could definitely drive the speed limit, which I was, and I pay attention to how, when I go by a automated speed sign or something like that, I always look to make sure that I know where my speedometer is reading. If it's a little slow on the highway, then I add 5 miles per hour or whatever, so I know I'm going along with the flow of traffic, which I was in a line of traffic. For whatever reason, this guy came up alongside of me, and he like tried to swerve over and pushed me off on the shoulder, and he had a carload of kids too, like young children, like babies and toddlers. And it's a crazy situation. And so if that guy had somehow been stuck on the side of the road and that guy walked up on me with his hand behind his back like that, he's indicating that he's concealing a weapon. And when I first saw this video of the guy walking up, I thought, well, boy, that's a tough call, because I don't know if that guy's got a gun behind his back. Well, in this Defiant L's video, it's got 4.2 million views on Twitter, X, and that's okay. The guy does pull out a gun. He fires shots. It's pretty violent. I think it maybe that violates Twitter's rules, but somehow that's okay. But my comment that I would, shoot first, otherwise run his ass over. I mean, that's self-defense in my state. That's where I'm viewing this. And in most United States, this isn't even a stand your ground law, because you're not even in a situation where you can retreat, where some guy just pulls up and starts, shooting at you. You can't retreat in that situation. If this was a longer drawn out ordeal, certainly retreating would be the best thing. If somebody broke into my house, a lot of people say, if somebody breaks into my house, I'll shoot through my door and all this kind of stuff. Well, there's no requirement in my state to retreat, but I would definitely retreat. I mean, I would get myself at least to the back bedroom or the bathroom or somewhere where that if they still came into my house and were coming at me, especially with a gun, then I would defend myself. But I'm not going to defend myself if I'm inside my house at 3 o'clock in the morning and some guy's out in my front of my house breaking into my car. As much as that would tick me off, I wouldn't just randomly shoot at him. But that has happened in the Seattle area multiple times, where people have been breaking into somebody's car in an apartment complex, something like that. There was one situation where a guy from his balcony in his apartment took a rifle and shot a guy in the back and killed him as he was running away from, they don't even call it burglarizing a vehicle. It's a car prowl in Washington. They shot and killed the guy, and he didn't face any repercussions. He was investigated, but I don't believe he was even charged, because the prosecutors said in a very, very liberal county, in a very, very liberal state, mostly population wise, the prosecutors said they couldn't convince the jury to convict him. So they didn't even prosecute him. It was self-defense. He was defending his property. So anyway, I stand by my statement. And I think Twitter or X, whatever they want to be called, I think their application of this rule was very over the top, very extreme, and unfair. But I don't really care. At the end of the day, I think it's a joke, and it just shows the magnitude or the extreme that some people will go to censor free speech. And in this case, my free speech was basically describing exactly what the law is in my state and in my country being the same one where X is based. Now, if I were maybe some guy in Saudi Arabia and I said, geez, I would have taken that woman and, chopped, stoned her or something, because that's what they do to a woman who complains, or something. Well, that's a whole different story, but we could argue about that, whether that's, humane or not. And should that be on here? By the way, that exact scenario is on Twitter. It's all over the place of people being stoned and women being abused in certain cultures, and that's okay. But describing specifically the state law, which is pretty much the state law in most states, is apparently not okay. So I think somebody got a little overzealous at X in over application of their policy, and I get it. But the problem is that we have Hillary Clinton this week saying we need to, and John Kerry and so on, all these old dinosaur Democrats coming out saying we need to restrict free speech. We need to we need to reel in and control the social media companies. And, while they're at it, why don't they just go after the cell phone companies and put AI technology so that if I'm talking to my friend or my family member or whoever on my phone, and I say something that some people in the government or Hillary Clinton or somebody doesn't like I think Hillary Clinton's a criminal, then they should just cut off my phone service immediately for saying that. It's the same thing. The social media and online chat and all these things. This is how people communicate today. It's no different than this or the old wired AT&T Ma Bell, very expensive long distance calls that we used to make. That if they had been listening in on all of our calls, and maybe they were, if we were calling my family in Canada or something, and just maybe the Canadian government didn't like the fact that we were talking about Ronald Reagan, that he was doing a great job or something. Well, it's the same thing. It's censorship, and it's ridiculous. And what I said I would do is I think it's protected free speech, but it's also it's the law in my state. So that's all I have to say about that. I feel like I'm repeating myself, but I'm not pissed off about it. I think it's, in a way, I think it's kind of funny. A guy can stab a handyman to death and be let out the next day and spend one night in jail in real life. And I said something that some little Nazi moderator on Twitter didn't like, and because it was flagged by an automated system, and they upheld, in my appeal, they upheld the thing and said it was correct. I'm in jail for 7 days. It's kind of funny. So that's why we have to make America great again. Trump 2024 MAGA all the way. Yeah. Anyway, that's it. Adios. I got to go back to jail. I got to finish my work here in the kitchen, and then I have to work in the laundry tonight. It's slave labor, but it's the price I pay for my sins and my crimes against humanity. So thanks for tuning in. I'll see you back when I get back on Twitter. If I ever do, they'll probably ban me for life now that I spoke out against the machine. Anyway, thanks for listening to my rambling story about how I got thrown in Twitter jail for 7 days. 7 days is a long time. I got thrown in jail once before for like 24 hours or something. Anyway, I guess maybe it's my third offense. I think it is my third offense. I'm a 3 strikes. 3 strikes and you're out for 7 days. Anyway, catch you later. Trump 2024 MAGA. Adios.